You ever heard the story of the guy that had all to give to a certain girl? The gentleman that just wanted to give his in-quote friend the world? If you haven't, turn up the volume and listen to this monotone, cause I'm gonna tell you all this story us boys like to call the friend zone. There was a storm and little Agnes just couldn't sleep that night, so to pass the time she decided to call her best friend Mike. She would have called her boyfriend, but he hadn't been treating her right. Little did she know her boyfriend was out fucking every bitch in his sight. But she knew that Mike would answer cause he's always there for sure. If there's something wrong, Mike would have gone through the storm to get to her. Cause Mike had this feeling he couldn't quite put into terms. He cared about her a lot, but this feeling was love he later came to learn. He picked up the phone and asked what she's doing up so late. She said, I'm in my feels and even though I'm tired I feel so awake. She said, I'm sorry for waking you up, I've been in a rough state. He wanted to tell her that he loved her, but instead he asked how was her day. Mike didn't want to ruin what they had over his love confliction. The last thing he wanted was her to leave over his dumb addiction. He loved her and couldn't stand that guy causing her heart affliction, but the hands of unease grasped his throat and he couldn't stand the constriction. Mike knew what her boyfriend was out doing, but it wasn't his place to go and tell her, hey, he's cheating on you straight to her face. But Mike couldn't compete with that guy, he knew he wouldn't win that race, so instead Mike brightened up her world with his jokes to help his case. Agnes later found out the news and it really pulled her heartstrings. She had been blind to reality and went and told Mike how much it stings. Agnes needs a guy that is loyal, funny, and makes her phone ring. Well, little old Agnes didn't know was Mike had all three of these things. Mike stayed patient and helped her grow in every way he could. He helped her become confident and independent how every woman should. But Mike didn't care about himself and the way he stood, because if Mike could help Agnes in any way, then he most definitely would. Agnes was finally back to herself again and was out for love. But Mike had already found it and he hoped that she also would have. But not to his surprise, she was somehow blind once again. When he told her how he felt, she said, but Mikey, we are just friends. Mikey went home the night and put his switchblade to the test. He still loved her even though she ripped his heart right out his chest. He carved her name into his arm with the blade, but he couldn't feel less. Mikey bled out in the bathroom floor with the note that said to Agnes. She later got the note and couldn't help but break into tears. The note was all crumbled and covered in love's blood smears. She opened it and read the bloody words, but it made everything clear. She could hear Mike's voice like she did that stormy night in her ear. Dear Agnes, if you're reading this, I'm long dead. Nothing to be sad about, but there's something that you don't get. Because I love you with all my heart, but your heart seems sad. I've had this love for you since our two souls first ever met. So I had to take my own life with a sharp knife. If I couldn't have you, then what's the point to even try? I had to open up my veins and let out the pain. I can't cry, don't be sad because everybody is gonna eventually die. The blood's running out fast now and I have too much to say. Just know it isn't your fault that I'm ill. Your smile ripped the pain away, cause my loneliness blocked my days, but you lit up the way, so thank you for that. And on that stormy night you gave me the month of May. Do you remember the times, Agnes, we used to talk on the phone? We used to talk for hours and just couldn't leave each other alone. I'm losing sight, but before I go there's one thing you should know. I love you, but think before you put somebody in the friend zone. The note came to an end with insincerely Mike. The K and the E were missing because the man named Death had already took his strike. Agnes fell to the ground cause she loved him but didn't know if it was right. She kept it to herself the whole time. Mike and Agnes were alike, so alike that she opened up her pocket and pulled out a blade. She thought it was only fair to make their two deaths an equal trade. Agnes didn't like the pain, but she most definitely wasn't afraid. She felt hopeless without Mike, but those feelings started to fade. Agnes killed herself in the garage when nobody was home. She tried to call and say goodbye, but nobody wanted to pick up the phone. Mike would have answered if he was alive, cause he went through the storm. So the last thing Agnes ever heard was leave a message at the tone. You ever heard the story of the guy that had all to give to a certain girl? The gentleman that just wanted to give his in-quote friend the world? You haven't, turned up the volume and listen to this monotone, cause I'm gonna tell you all this story us boys like to call the friend zone.